with you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We're here. We're here live. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Scotty V, man, it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. I mean, you know, things happen, man.
Things happen.
Super Bowl. We got a lot to talk about. So, well, first, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I think the last time we was on air, I was like battling some sort of cold or something like that. So now,
and then last week I was battling.
Yeah, you're cold. Yeah.
It was like, yo, this is crazy. But we're back. You know, shout out to Jamal and Joe. They came through last time we were here. But since then, we've had the Super Bowl. NBA All-Star Weekend has passed. You know, the combine is going to start in about a week. You got CIAA in about a week. Major League Baseball spring training is starting. I mean, we getting ramped up because soon March Madness is going to be starting. So I think that we got a lot to talk about and to figure out.
Let's get to it.
So I guess let's go to the Super Bowl real quick. I mean, we don't got to harp on that. It was a blowout. You picked the Eagles. I picked the Eagles. Then I went to the Chiefs. But in my head, I was like, man, the Eagles is a better team. But I was like, I don't want to pick the Eagles.
Right.
But as the day got there, like Super Bowl Sunday, I will be honest. I was like, I got a bad feeling about this, about the Super Bowl as far as like for the Chiefs. It was like something just was telling me, and then not trying to be funny to anyone, anybody's political stance or whatever. Your political stance is your political stance. Honestly, I don't care. But when I seen Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, and they was just, you know, giving the president all these it was just like, man, I hope the Eagles. Fuck you. I was just getting mad, like, especially with Chris Jones. It was just like, man, then he got hurt in the game. I ain't gonna say what people were saying about that. But so it was just like the feeling that I had already then seeing that like before the game, I was just like, so, you know, the Eagles, they whooped. I mean, that was as bad.
It was a butt whipping.
Yeah,
it
wasn't as close as what the score said. It was only like an 18 point game, 22-40. But I'll say that the biggest you can tell the difference in up front, and I feel like everybody we talked to, including us, was talking about the O line and the D line, and that's going to be the difference. I heard a ton of people say it, and boy, it was the biggest difference.
Okay, so let's shift and stay with the Super Bowl, right? So
Okay.
Hurts wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Do you think that puts a ton of pressure on other quarterbacks in the league?
God, you're not slick.
I'm not even going to that. I want to start with the big three: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. I think that he's put the most pressure on those three quarterbacks. We'll get to Dak, Brock Purdy. I mean, that could be any quarterback, right? But in most people's conversations, the top three quarterbacks, or we'll say the top four, is Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Burrow. We can agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
So you got Lamar Jackson, MVP, three-time MVP,
Two-time.
MVP.
Yeah.
You got Josh Allen, who's lost
And just won
to
the MVP.
to Patrick Mahomes 4 times
Mm-hmm.
in the Super Bowl, and then you've got Joe Burrow, which I mean he's had success against Mahomes, but I think most would consider him. I mean, the season that he had, some could argue if it wasn't for the record, like he could have been the MVP with what he was doing throwing the ball. So you got Jalen Hurts. He's been to 2 Super Bowls now. He was able to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, who's under the most pressure?
The most pressure, it has to be, I think, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have the most pressure, pretty much combined, right? I think they have an equal amount of pressure because they have an equal amount of pressure because one, Lamar Jackson's won 2 MVPs, and Josh Allen. First of all, they want Josh Allen to be the golden boy so bad. If Josh Allen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If somehow, some way, Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl, he will have more advertisements than all these quarterbacks combined. That's first and foremost. They will treat the league will probably treat him better than they treat Mahomes, right? And it's gonna be you're gonna have Josh Allen fatigue after 1 Super Bowl. All it's gonna take is one. I mean, he's fighting the ghost of Jim Kelly's past and Marvin Levy and all those Bills. Like, so the league wants Josh Allen to win.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
They are like, dude, come on now.
Well, I think it's interesting, right? Because I'm sure we're going to get into this a little bit. So the NBA right now, they've been struggling with face of the league, right? So you go back to football and you start to think like right now, Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL, right?
Right.
And that's why I think most of us were reluctant to go against Patrick Mahomes just because, like, I think he's proven time and time again, no matter how much talent he has around him, he can figure out how to get it done, right? And I think even though I picked the Eagles and I felt the Eagles were going to win, part of me was like, you know what? I don't know if I should be betting against Patrick Mahomes. And I think most people felt like that. Most people felt like that for the most part. So I think football is really looking for another face of the league. Is good with football because you can have multiple faces of the league, right? So you got like Lamar, who's a face of the league. You got Josh. All the quarterbacks I just named. You can now throw Saquon Barkley in there as being one of the faces of the league.
I think he's more of a feel-good story. I mean, and everybody's gonna know.
Justin Jefferson, I think you can kind of put him in that category.
I mean, there's a few people that you could just throw in there and say, yeah, they in their position group, they
Christian McCaffrey,
right? But yeah, so I agree with that, and in regards to those quarterbacks, I think that with somebody like Burrow, it's right now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. We know they're going to sign Jamar Chase. We know what he's going to get. I think T. Higgins is the big thing, and Joe Burrow said he wants T. Higgins to come back. Now the problem is, whose slice of the pie is he going to get? So I don't think.
So they got some help today.
Huh?
They got some help today.
Okay.
The salary cap just went up by 20 million.
They did. Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be enough because was it Trey Henderson, right? Or Hendrickson? Yeah, Hendrickson. He's up for another contract too. So it's going to get interesting in Cincinnati.
And those owners, they are cheap, right? So they're cheap. So
I heard today. I heard they don't have a practice field.
They do.
Yeah,
They have,
well,
they didn't
indoor- they
didn't
have an indoor
They
one.
have an indoor now.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
do have one now.
They hadn't got one up until, but when did Burrow get there in 2020? Yeah, they didn't have one. They didn't get one until Burrow.
I thought
got there.
that was crazy.
In Cincinnati, Ohio. That is absurd. Like what?
They said they had to go to the local university.
Yeah,
I think
University of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah,
Yeah.
to practice indoors.
It's crazy. Which you just I don't know. But I mean, we're gonna see how that turns out. I like when you bring up the pressure. I think that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson top that list. If there had to be some sort of tier, you know what? I'll do you one even better. I'll give you a list of quarterbacks under pressure.
Okay.
Right? From one, and I'll put them in order from 10 to 1. All right. So at number 10, and this I did not write this down, but this is just me thinking off the top. So number 10, I think is no, I think he's a little higher. But what is the guy in Green Bay? Jordan Love, right? Now, excuse me. Jordan, and the reason why I have Jordan Love at 10 is because he's going into his third year starting. His first year was a little shaky, and then he got hot, right? And then last year, it was I felt like he wasn't really himself. I felt like there was something going on. But again, that's year 2. I think this year he's going to have some sort of pressure to get to the next level. Number 9, I have C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud is in the same
boat.
Yeah, same boat. Year 1 took the league. C.J. Stroud kind of like how I think was going to happen with Jaden Daniels. Maybe not as extreme. I don't know if he's going to – I think he's probably going to get weapons instead of like lose them how C.J. Stroud did. Although C.J. Stroud did get weapons, they just got hurt, like Diggs. So I think that C.J. Stroud is I don't want to say a prove it year. He still won his division, and he went to the playoffs. So I think that C.J. Stroud at number – I had him at 9, right?
Yeah.
At number 9 is in that pressure category. Number 8 is Tua. Right, Tua has the pressure of you gotta win a playoff game. You haven't done anything to say, yo, what are you doing? Right, like you can't win in the cold. You're getting paid all this money. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Waddle. You lost Mostert. Mostert is gone now, but you still have A-Chain. So I mean, you have weapons. What Miami's going to do, I think they're in a bit of a
They got to figure out if he's the guy. So I think.
Well, they paid him like he's the guy, so he's the guy.
Yeah, so he's the guy, but everything that you just said, there's question marks. So, I would agree. Okay, so yeah, you have him ranked over Stroud and Love. Okay.
Yeah. So that was what?
That's 7.
Yeah. So then at number 6, this one is kind of like a tie. I think that these two guys, 5 and 6, are tied. But at 6. I'm gonna put Justin Herbert. I think that he has the pressure of, dude, you're supposed to be the man. And when you barely get into the playoffs, and then if you do get to the playoffs, you're losing. You haven't won a playoff game. You're going in the year, what is this, year 5? 5 or 6?
So I believe he's in the same year. Is Joe Burrow? Or no, it's Tua. You are right. It's Tua.
Because they went. I forget who else was in that draft. I can't think, but I have Justin Herbert at 6. I really wanted to put Justin Herbert at 5, but I'm gonna be fair, and I think number 5 though. I think number 5 is I'm gonna put Joe Burrow at 5 of pressure. It's not much more that he can do, but now I guess you got to play up another level, because we saw you just had your damn near career year. You didn't make the playoffs. Yes, the defense is bad. You got to figure it out. There's been quarterbacks that have been that special to figure it out, right? So I have Burrow at 5. At 4, I have Dak, for obvious reasons. Yes, we can make all the excuses in the world. Yes, the owner is way. We get that. We get all of those things, all the outside noise. But it's getting to a point. One, you got to make sure that you stay healthy, because you're starting to show the sign of being injury prone. And if you don't have a running game, who cares? Like, boo-hoo. Brady, and I'm not comparing Dak to Brady. I'm not saying Dak is Brady, but Brady never had the greatest running game. No. He I don't know if he had like older running backs, Corey Dillon. What's the old boy that went to Boise that punched the dude from Oregon?
LeGarrette.
Or was it the other way?
LeGarrette Blount.
He went to Oregon and punched the dude from Boise. LeGarrette Blount. He had all of these, whatever. He never had a superstar running back, so Dak did. So I think that Dak has to. He had this year. Yes, 2 years ago he was an MVP candidate. I will fight for Dak as much as I can, but he has to, like, at this point right now, you're the only NFC team that hasn't been to an NFC championship in the last
I think
20 years.
Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts put a lot of pressure on Dak.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm good with 4.
Yeah.
Right, because I mean, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, it just kind of is what it is at this point. But I think Eagles fans and Commander fans being able to say, okay, we got a Super Bowl, our rookie quarterback took us to NFC Championship, that definitely put the pressure on him.
Yeah. So number 3 is gonna sound crazy. I know people gonna get mad at me, and I understand it. Number 3, excuse me. Number 3. I have Mahomes. And here's the reason why. Mahomes is the standard. Mahomes is the standard. And literally a week ago, we just saw him get his brains kicked in, right? Now, yes, we can say the line didn't hold up. Whatever, right? They ain't held up all year. They ain't held up all year. Let's not act like this is something new. Like, he's honestly, if you want to be real, Mahomes has had one of the worst lines in his career than a lot of other quarterbacks, right? I mean, I tell you now, if Jalen Hurts had the Chiefs line, he would have been playing in no Super Bowl. All right. So the pressure for Mahomes is, hey, you have to get over that hump. You have to make it happen. You have to figure out a way to do whatever it is that you got to do to get back to the promised land. Because there are people that's writing off the Chiefs and saying that the dynasty is over. He has to be the guy. Is Kelsey going to retire? What are you going to do at wide receiver? Things and the line. So he has to be the one to elevate them to do whatever.
So I thought you were going to go in a different direction.
Don't worry, I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm not done. So number two, I have Joe Burrow.
Again?
Where I had Joe Burrow before?
Yeah, I'm at 5.
Did I have him at 5? All right, good. Then take him off. I was ready. Oh, I had some good. I got some off the Joe Burrow too. Then anyway, but number 2 is going to be Josh Allen. All right. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are, again, they're like one and the same. But the only reason why I have Josh Allen at 2 is because for a couple of reasons. One, Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP, and I'll get to him. So I'm not even going to talk about Lamar Jackson. I'm talking about Josh Allen. You have lost to Patrick Mahomes 4 times in the playoffs, and I want to say, was it 3 times in the AFC Championship?
It might have been.
Yeah. So 3 times in the AFC Championship and 1 time in the divisional, and you're the reigning MVP. You are Superman. You're supposed to get your team over that hump because you are Josh Allen. and you haven't done it. So Josh Allen at number 2 and Lamar Jackson at number 1. He got. It is what it is. You are a 2-time MVP. You're the youngest MVP. You're the first unanimous MVP. You know, we can make excuses for Lamar like we make for any other quarterback, saying, well, 2 years ago they didn't run the ball enough. They kept on trying to throw, but they ended up losing by 3. It doesn't matter. The pressure. Lamar Jackson has to get to the Super Bowl. He has to find a way now that he's seen someone beat Patrick Mahomes. You know, then all right, look, you got to make it happen.
But I think that's what put more pressure on these other quarterbacks, right? Because I think as long as Mahomes was winning, his mystique was just becoming that he was just unbeatable. So most people say, like, you know what, you lost to Mahomes. Everybody lost to Mahomes. But now that he's been beaten by Jalen Hurts, it's like,
and he got outplayed by Jalen Hurts twice. Like, if you want to be real, that Super Bowl a couple years ago, I mean, Jalen Hurts went crazy. Aside from that fumble, I mean, Jalen Hurts probably that was probably at his time his best game. That Super Bowl that they lost.
No, I would agree.
You know,
because I thought they were going to win.
Yeah,
that Super Bowl.
Yeah. And they had a double-digit lead.
So some notable mentions that I thought you were going to throw on the list was I thought you were going to work Jared Goff onto the list.
That's a good point. I just feel like with Jared Goff, you know, he's not as old as he's saying. He just feels like an old quarterback, right? Like, it feels like he's like 35 and he's even 30 yet, right? But I feel like you got what you're gonna get out of Jared Goff. I think you can add him to the list. You know, take off.
No, I think that's a fair point. I think you have what you have. Like certain quarterbacks, like you got Geno Smith out there,
right?
Not to discredit Geno Smith, but I don't see the Seahawks getting much more production out of.
I think you got what you got out of.
Geno Smith. I mean, and it's a good. You got a good quarterback.
You got good 2 Pro Bowls out of him. I mean, you did what you had to do.
And he may make another Pro Bowl, but I don't see him ever playing as an MVP caliber player. So
he is where he is.
So I want to be honest. I thought that was a really strong list considering you didn't have that written down.
Right.
I don't too much have any problems with that list. The only one I might take off is Mahomes. Where I tend to agree with you is Mahomes is chasing greatness.
Yeah. And
right now, he's probably the greatest quarterback to ever play quarterback in the game. And I know his career is not over. I know Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls, but I think most people would say if there was any chance of anybody ever catching Tom Brady, it would be Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
So I think because he's chasing that, that does lend a little bit of pressure. Like these guys have the pressure to get to the Super Bowl and to perform. Right. He's got the pressure of being the greatest to ever do.
Okay, so Phil asked a question. What about Trevor Lawrence?
So that was my next honorable mention. All right. So I'm gonna be honest, and I've grown to like Trevor Lawrence.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No. So I want to take fan cap off. He's been underperforming.
Absolutely.
And he's gotten a golden pass. I mean, this year I was a lot more tuned in to Jags games than I normally are. And I get that he has been hurt. I get that his coach may not have been the best, but even though I think he caught like a raw deal, he's got talent down there.
They do.
And enough talent to where he can figure out how to be better than he is.
So I'm not opposed to either taking off CJ Stroud or Jordan Love and adding him, but
you definitely could take Jordan Love and CJ Stroud off. So Here's the difference, right? Everybody that you named,
Mhm.
maybe, but I agree with everybody. Will have their team in the playoffs. Will have a legitimate shot, and are in the conversation of consistently having good teams, and people are expecting more from them because they totally stink. It's just like, you know what, you're really good, and we would like to see you in competition. Like Josh Allen and Lamar, I mean, yeah, they're 1 and 2 on your list, but for the most part, next year we could depend that they're going to have successful seasons. Like they're going to have Joe Burrow is going to have a good season.
Yeah.
We're just saying, I mean, it can only be one winner.
Right.
Let's just see if you could beat out one of your peers for that Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence is right now in a whole different, like Trevor Lawrence is in the category, and this is just my opinion, but I'm just going to call it how I see it.
Okay.
He's kind of like teetering Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. Nah. And the list that I'm comprising is, do you move on? Do you draft another quarterback?
They just
paid him. But is this guy the answer? Like, should you have paid him? Same with Deshaun Watson. I mean, we could argue like circumstances he got hurt, but he's left more questions about whether or not he should have been paid or not.
Right.
Kyler Murray had a decent year this year, no knock to him or whatnot. But if they clean house and I come on as the GM or the coach, I don't know if that's my guy that if you give me 3 years and tell me that I have to turn the franchise around, I don't know if that's the guy. Like, I'm probably going to say, you know what? I'm going to pull Chicago. I might ship Kyler Murray off, see what I can get from him, especially depending on the draft prospects, and figure out if I can get like a better quarterback. So this is the list that I'm compiling with that. Like,
yeah, that hey, you might be a couple of months away from being on a new team.
Yeah, exactly. If I don't see anything, so I think Trevor Lawrence, he still has opportunities. Maybe they bring in the right coach, but if you think about it, like, yeah, Urban Meyer, okay, we'll give you a pass, right? That was a shit show. But they tried to rectify that situation really quickly. Brought in Doug Peterson. They were a playoff team last year. They choked in the playoffs.
No, they were a playoff team 3 years ago.
So what was the year
when they lost?
They lost to the Chargers, right?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, that was 2 years ago. Okay.
No, that was like 3 years ago. That was. I want to say that was the year that the Chiefs, because the Chiefs beat the.
Was that Chiefs Eagles?
No, that was.
I believe that was 2 years ago when that happened. It might have been 2 years ago. It might have been a couple years.
So all right, so Herbert went to the playoffs because Herbert lost. The Jags won that game. So Herbert. So
was it that he had 4 interceptions like the first half or something like that?
That was when they played the Chargers.
Yeah, and they ended up winning that game.
And they came back and won because he was down like 27-3 or something like that. So it was, yeah. So nonetheless, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to get rid of Trevor Lawrence.
You're right. It's 2022.
So I don't think that anybody is going to come in and say, okay, we've got to go in a different direction. But I will say, based off of his performance, and if you were basing it just off of performance, he's got to be on the clock too. Yeah.
Does he still have the talent?
I
would say yeah.
I believe that he has the talent.
Yeah, I would say yeah. All right, so we'll come back and we'll keep a lookout on that list on both lists. You know, so real quick, I do want to get to like some of the off-season stuff in NBA, but I guess we could get there now. So Justin Fields, right?
Okay.
If you are the Steelers, what do? Do you bring back Justin Fields, Do you bring back Russell Wilson? Do you bring back both, or do you move on from both?
It's tricky, right? So I saw they've got $60 million in salary cap.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the Steelers do not like to pay their quarterbacks.
That is correct. Unless you're Big Ben or Terry Bradshaw.
So with Russell Wilson, I saw an improved Russell Wilson. He wasn't the Russell Wilson in Denver.
That is correct.
I think he had a good season.
It's okay.
He ended up making the Pro Bowl. He made the Pro
Yeah,
Bowl.
yeah.
But I don't know if it's enough to really. And I know this sounds crazy, even though that he made the Pro Bowl. I don't know if I give him like a long-term extension. So I'm fine with moving on from him. Now, Justin Fields gets a little interesting, right? I felt that he showed flashes.
Mm-hmm.
He had some really good games.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he did enough in my book, if I'm the Steelers, to say, I can't let that guy walk out of the building. I believe they should sign both of them until they figure out what they're going to do.
But you would have to give Justin Fields some sort of longer-term deal, maybe 3 years.
You give him 3 years with the ability to negotiate, and maybe, like I said, I don't know if they're planning on drafting a quarterback in the first and the second.
I think they are. I think they're going to go after Jackson Dart.
So if I go after Jackson Dart,
Do you keep one of them?
If I go after Jackson Dart, I keep Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I was about to say you can't keep Fields.
I keep Russell Wilson because at least with Russ, that gives me a veteran, and that gives me the flexibility to decide if I'm going to play him or I'm just going to allow him to sit for a year.
You should let him sit, get 60,000 XP. Hey, I'm just saying. But no, I will agree there. If you're going to draft a quarterback in the first or second round, I think that you bring back Russell Wilson and let Justin Fields go wherever he got to go. There's going to be suitors for Justin Fields, just like I feel like there's going to be suitors for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, so here's the thing about Daniel Jones and Justin Fields. You don't start that many games in the NFL and not have a job as a backup.
That is correct.
I mean, if Drew Lock can get a job as a backup, and I have nothing against Drew Lock, but you can't tell me that he's – huh?
I said he caught a stray.
No, but he's not better than Daniel Jones. Like, if you have the opportunity to bring in Daniel Jones as a backup, I mean, even the Cowboys, you would bring in Daniel Jones as a backup. You wouldn't?
I would try and find somebody else. But this is what I will say. Whoever brings in Daniel Jones, they are going to they're going to be under that Shanahan tree.
Right.
It's going to be Dolphins, the Vikings, the Packers, the Niners. And the reason being, he got picked up by the Vikings after he was cut, and same thing that happened with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold went to he was with the Panthers and whatever, but he went to the 49ers. It was their year. Went to the Vikings, who run pretty much the same damn offense, and starred. He had his best season as a pro. So I think that Daniel Jones is definitely going to get a job. Where, I don't know, but I think it's going to be a team, some sort of team under that tree, and for a team whose quarterback may or may not have some sort of injury issues. And again, like you said, he does have a ton of starts as a pro. So you definitely
as a backup, you
Yeah.
can't lose. And I mean,
I agree.
would they get the opportunity to ever start again? Possibly, if
Maybe,
somebody
who
gets
knows?
hurt.
I mean, you never know. Look at Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. Listen, in the NFL, man, you have to play. Ultimately, you have to play the game. If you're come in as a starter, you have all these expectations. You fail to meet those expectations. You ultimately you're falling back, becoming a pro, learning the game, and it may take you 8 years. It may take you 7, 8, 9 years, but you get your shot. You have to be able to produce on your shot. And I mean, we've seen it the last few years with the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. I mean, you there's other guys as well. Even so, I mean, to an extent, Jameis Winston. I mean, Jameis Winston's going to get a job this season. He'll be with another team. So
if he's not on Fox Sports.
that is true. He's definitely going to get a job on one of these stations,
he's become
ESPN,
he's
Fox.
become must see TV.
He'll definitely have a job. NBA All-Star Game. Did you like the format?
No.
Expound, please.
I didn't like the way the teams were set up. I looked at Team Shaq and I was like, okay, Team Shaq is going to win because literally made a little bit of money off the 3-point contest. Didn't make much off the dunk contest. So was looking to gamble on Sunday, and I looked and I said, shit, you can't make no money off of Team Shaq. Yeah. And when I started looking at the rest of the roster, like the rising stars, like
they play well.
They play well.
And they play hard.
Yeah, but what are we doing here? I mean, it's the All-Star game, right? So, I mean, I did not like the format. Now, I did hear something that was interesting, is they're wanting to change it to a one-on-one tournament. So here's my issue with the All-Star game. And I'm just gonna say it, right? The players, like we'd be better off just saying, here's your All-Star. No. Now, I'm serious. They don't want to play in the game. They do not want to. Like, you heard about the hockey All-Star game, didn't you? Wow. With the Canadian hockey team.
It was the Four Nations.
Yeah, the Four Nations tournament.
The United States, and they had 3 fights in 9 seconds.
Yeah, and those guys were out there. I mean,
that's almost like the Olympics. They're playing for their country.
Right. But if we can't duplicate that, so I felt like in the Olympics, all the USA players played, lights out. They gave it their all. Mm-hmm. The All-Star game, they're not going to give their all to an exhibition game.
They will. Let me tell you how you fix it. Well, one of the ways you can fix it. So first, let me give my opinion on the format. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it. I thought that they should go higher than 40. I think you're talking about NBA players. These guys can score 40 in their sleep. So I thought that they should go maybe to 50. And then, but what I think that they should do, I have actually 2 solutions or 2 ideas. The first idea is international versus United States, right? And I think that you think about the international guys, and you can add some guys if you want to. First of all, I always felt that the All-Star team should be 15 and 15. You have 15 people on the All NBA team. Add 15. I think. When they went to the 12 players, they only had like 20 teams in the league or 24 teams or whatever. Anyway, one of the things is you can go international versus American or USA. That's one way, I think. Or the other way is you have you have an Elam ending, or sort of like the TBT, where the first three quarters you're playing, and then the fourth quarter is you have a goal to reach, right? So you're combining the real game with what we just saw with the going. I think that what we saw from last Sunday was that when you have a set number to reach, them dudes, the pride kicks in. Like that's when it was like, damn, these dudes kind of playing hard. When it was like, all right, it's 31-27, and these motherfuckers need 3 threes to win, and you're like, oh, so you kind of their pride again as an athlete or as a competitor starts to kick in, and you're like, all right, we're gonna play some defense. We're gonna play a little harder. So however they want to add the Elam ending. So for instance, if the score is 75 or 120 to 130, then you will add maybe 20 points or 15 points to that. So now they got to get to 145. The other team, they got to get to 145 too. But they got to score 25. The other team got to score 15.
So no, I think those are really good suggestions. And I think that could like improve it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is something missing.
I can tell you exactly what's missing. The KD, LeBron, Steph, Harden, Kyrie, that era, that group, they got to get out. Once they get out, you got the SGAs, the Ants, the Wembys. Wemby was playing his ass off. Wemby wanted to win. He was pissed.
Yeah, he was mad.
Pissed.
He was mad.
But you have those guys. I think the younger guys, the new generation. Those are going to be the guys that's going to save the All-Star game. That 03 to 2012, 2015 type guy is. Once you kind of like flush those guys out, you're going to have these younger dudes like, yo, we here, we want to play. Because you could tell that the younger guys want to play. Like that Kenny's team lost, right? First, that's he had Wemby and all of them and SGA. They wanted to win. They were pissed. So I don't know whose team Ant was supposed to play on, but he didn't play. And I think that had he played and had he been healthy, Ant's gonna play hard. He ain't gonna. Nah, he a tough dude.
It's gonna be all interesting because I league right now, and we talked about it in football. Is they struggle with who is going to be the face of the NBA, and you're right. That problem is going to persist for a while now because, like you said, KD, Steph, LeBron, they're leaving. But where the league is really struggling with is the best players other than Ant-Man are international players. And Stephen A., he brought up a good point.
Yeah, okay.
No, but he brought up a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everybody gets behind the Joker. I don't know if everybody gets behind Giannis. Like those guys, they're great.
They'll get behind Giannis. Joker just wants to go ride his horses.
But if
they'll get behind Wemby.
But if he
they get Wemby's a star.
We'll see in a couple years. I think he's a star, but I don't know if he's a LeBron star. And what I mean by that is like, look at how long LeBron. I mean, it was like a perfect passing of the right. You had Magic and Bird.
Mm-hmm.
They passed it to Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Michael passed it to Kobe. Kind of, you could say Kobe, Shaq, whoever. Kobe passed it to LeBron. Steph, we'll say, yeah, Steph had his little run, but for the most part, since LeBron has been pretty much, maybe Kobe, it was an overlap, right? So maybe around 2000 and 2011, it shifted over to LeBron. And it's like, who gets the torch now?
I mean,
And you look at those guys; they had really big shoes. I mean, they filled really big shoes. I mean,
But
when
I
we
don't think they need to be LeBron. That's I don't like asking somebody to be LeBron is asking Harold Miner to be Jordan. I mean,
no,
when yeah,
I don't say that you have to be them, but think about like you probably wore Jordans over here,
you
right?
said what?
You probably wore Jordan sneakers over here, like how dialed in we were to Michael Jordan, right?
Mhm.
And then you look at Kobe Bryant, just the legacy that he left. People hated or loved him. They were dialed into him. LeBron, same thing, but you find yourself the where you can't deny his greatness, right? And people were tuned in, whether or not it's to see him lose or whatever it is. Basketball needs that next guy.
The next guy is his teammate. Luka can easily be the face, especially now that he's in LA. Like listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, in about 20 years, 20, 30, we'll talk about this trade, like this being what boosted Luka's career, that it was the Lakers swindled the Mavericks. They're gonna say that the Mavericks ownership was trying to move the team, that they traded Luka. It's gonna be Luka. It's gonna be Luka. It's like almost you just said it. Who is it? The dude is literally in LA right now, and if he wins a championship in LA,
like I said, maybe it could be Luka. You got Wemby. It's a lot of young talent, but right now, like you said, until they phase these old guys out and everybody starts getting their new beefs, their new identity, new situations that will really follow, I think the NBA is going to hurt. Then they really, honestly, truly have to do something about the guys like playing harder, not just in the All-Star game, but like the rest management, the time management, the all that stuff. Like it has to get back to you turn on the NBA game, you see the star playing.
So honestly, it should be Jason Tatum, but he's not. Jason Tatum is a cool dude. He's just like he's a laid back like chill guy, and he's gonna hoop. He gonna kill you on the court, but it's the charisma and Ant has the attitude to be the best player in the league. He already has that attitude. He came in the league with that attitude as a rookie, but
he said he didn't want to do it. He said he didn't want to do it.
I mean, so did Barkley. He didn't have a choice. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think Ant realizes like the type of lifestyle that he lives. He doesn't mind being the killer on the court, but he doesn't want to necessarily be that role model off the court, which I'm perfectly fine with that too. Yeah. I wouldn't want to have all those expectations too. I mean, because you look at like LeBron, I don't think anybody could do it.
Can I tell you something? And this may ruffle a couple of fellas. If Jordan had to deal with what LeBron had to deal with, I don't think Jordan would be who he was. Right? Now, he had a lot to deal with. He had LeBron issues to deal with.
If Jordan would have been gambling and smoking cigars and doing all the stuff that we heard that he was doing in this era, he would, I ain't gonna say cancel, but the expectations would have been a lot different. Could you imagine like if LeBron was smoking a cigar before he had won the championship, what people would have been saying about him? I mean, that's really honestly what Luka has got to clean up. I mean, yeah, he's very capable being the face of the league, but a lot of people like they question his conditioning. He's got some stuff that he's not necessarily got to prove, but pretty much debunk.
And the guy that's in the locker room with him to help him do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Definitely.
Mental. I think that he had Kyrie, and Kyrie has a lot of knowledge. I mean, he's been in the league or whatever. But Kyrie ain't LeBron.
No. I think he's had. I don't know. This is going to be, like you said. They better hope to God Anthony Davis comes back, gives them a championship this year or next year, because if he doesn't, it is going to be bad. And I agree, right? It's too early to tell how this trade is going to end up. So we can't call it the worst trade ever because both players haven't really played. Like it hasn't we may not even see like the ramifications of this trade until next year, right?
Or the after.
Yeah, but the way it's looking, and look, right? If Anthony Davis would have went out there and balled like he was balling in them first 2 quarters, and balled like that, this may not look as bad. But
that man got hurt the first game.
And the bad part about it is everybody knows Anthony Davis is like injury, like history, right? So it's not like even on no fluke stuff, like he went out there and he got hurt. It was just like, damn, it was Anthony Davis being Anthony Davis.
Yeah, he was just playing basketball. But we're definitely going to see what happens in regards to that trade. I feel like, we about to get up out of here, but it was a couple of things that I wanted to speak on, right? So, first, I don't forget what I was about to say. Oh, CIAA. So the CIAA tournament is next week. Obviously, me and Sky, we went to Virginia State. The girls, the guys are doing well too, but the girls are killing. Like them in Union are literally have like the same record. It's crazy. And the guys are doing well as also. So next week I'm gonna be out there in Baltimore. So we'll record the show. I'm just gonna be from there, right? I think that's gonna be dope. I feel like that was wild. It might have been 2020. I recorded from Charlotte.
Yeah,
last year I was in Charlotte. That was one of the more fun tournaments that I have been to, right? We ended up having both winning coaches on the show that next week or after. Well, it don't matter, but it was before COVID. I know that, and then COVID came in, and hopefully we gonna run this back and COVID gonna come back. Because we know, but yeah, so. I feel like that it's gonna be a good tournament. It's one of those tournaments that it's Division II, but this is the last few years in Baltimore. They've had like their highest number in attendance. So if you're around and you're in the DC area or the Baltimore area, go out to the games, enjoy some good basketball because you talk about wanting people to play hard. You're going to so that was one thing. My second thing before we get out of here, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to cause no controversy, Scott. I don't. All I'm gonna say is we need to treat people better, right? I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that us people, Americans, need to treat people better. Like we know what we have.
Let's just end it there because we're gonna have a whole hour. Rest of the show.
I think that we have to do better as people, right? Like you can't. I'll leave it at that. Let's just start treating people better.
No, that's a good word. Now
indulge later.
we'll just say this, man. It's a lot going on.
Right.
Everybody just keep their head up and just, man, try to stay positive, man. It's a lot going on, and we'll get through it.
And, because I don't really like talking politics, but I also don't like bullies, right? I know people could try and say but I am so anti. I hate, but I know we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it real quick. Not this, because you said something yesterday, Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin. I knew something was gonna trigger me to bring this up because I said yesterday I didn't even respond to you. I saw what you put in our group chat, and I didn't respond because I was like, okay, real quick. This is the last story we're going to talk about tonight. It's Jonathan Martin, right? Jonathan Martin was an O-lineman for the Miami Dolphins. At that time, he went to Stanford. I can't remember. Was he there with Christian McCaffrey, or he was after?
He was there with
Richard Sherman.
No, he was there with Solomon
Thomas.
Yeah, and him and John Lynch, pretty good friends.
Okay, so he goes to the Dolphins, and he says,
No, I'm sorry, he was there with Jim Harbaugh.
Right. So he's been there with McCaffrey.
No, McCaffrey's way after. He was there with like Luck.
So then he was before McCaffrey.
Yeah, so you got to think all this like transpired maybe around 2013, 2014.
Yes, correct. So no, it don't even matter when he was there. He was at Stanford. He goes to the Dolphins. This huge story about bullying, and he was getting hazed, and supposedly, I'll put the air quotes up, he was getting hazed. And there was this huge story in the media that mainly Richie Incognito was bullying this guy, and his mom went to the press or went to the team, and then ended up going to the press. So recently he said it wasn't true. He said that he didn't feel that he was getting bullied. Richie Incognito then either retweeted the story or said something about pretty much the media made it bigger than what it was. I wasn't bullying that dude. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I wasn't bullying a grown man. You being Scott said, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't want to use the language that you use. But you said, he lying. That man was scared to death. I paraphrase.
No, but you know what? I stand on that, right?
Okay.
Because of all the evidence that came out. Like, this was investigated. It was a very strange story. I felt like this wasn't no acting. This wasn't no, like, I'm not going to say bully is maybe because a lot of things go on in the football locker room that nobody has any idea.
Mm-hmm.
But this gentleman has some nerve to say that he didn't feel like he was being bullied. Yes, he did. Because if he didn't feel like he was being bullied, he wouldn't have went the whole distance. I mean, they had like voice messages of him talking crap to him. They had like instances to where like, like he was punking them in the lunchroom, and he was just talking about his mom and talking about his sister. Like, no, he was scared of Richie Incognito. I'm not.
I'm not saying I'm not going to fight you on this, right? But I'm going to tell you the three guys that they said were teasing him, right, by a fellow block. So one was Richie Incognito.
Pouncey.
Another was John Jerry, who's a pretty big fella, and the third was Mike Pouncey, who
he was scared.
who was teammates with Aaron Hernandez.
He was scared.
So I mean,
yeah, I mean, 10 years later, it's probably been longer than that. I'm not trying to
lost their jobs.
Yeah, they went through all that. I mean, like, look, he's trying to save face now. And maybe him and Richie Incognito, like, they met up. They Nah, man.
So he said he's been trying to fix the story for 10 years. He said his mom is the one that pushed it. He said he didn't even tell his coaches. He didn't tell anybody. And suddenly he's on ESPN. You know, again. His mom
was the big time lawyer. Yeah.
You know, she pushed the notion of bullying. I mean, and here's the thing: if she's pushing it, is his mom white or black?
His mom is black.
Oh, she was gonna make sure he.
Nah. So look, right. So look, if your mom was pushing it, it's because you said you was getting bullied. He was probably ashamed and didn't want to push it because he felt he was getting bullied. Like the man left the compound after the last incident and never showed back up. He was scared. He was scared. It was multiple reports that he was getting punked, he was getting bullied. Nah, I believe it. Now, to your point, it's pretty tough guys to get bullied from. Maybe I would have been scared too, but yeah, no, I'm not trying to hear that, man.
All right, so I'm gonna read this.
Man, I'm hungry, man. I'm not about to sit here.
I was not. I quote: "I was not well," said Martin, who was arrested in 2018 for tagging Incognito and other alleged Dolphins bullies in a social media post displaying a shotgun and ammunition. I needed some sort of break from football, but it didn't need to be this tit for tat on TMZ, right? I should have sat down with the owner and head coach of the Dolphins and figured it out.
Yeah, I remember that post too. Like he was embarrassed. Like he went through a lot, man. I mean, like, listen, he was publicly humiliated for being bullied. Nah, I ain't trying to believe that. All right, man, let's get out of here, man. I ain't trying to get all worked up over this stupid story, man. Man was getting bullied.
All right. Well, this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy, Scotty B.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.